Hi, Henrik Knudsen here. I'd like to make this screencast and take some considerations of the readings that we have for Monday in Course International Business. Essentially, the reason for these screencasts is to save you and myself from PowerPoints during the lessons. So we will be able to take it a step further and a step deeper, having addressed the PowerPoints from home. And I asked you to download the Value Proposition Canvas and the Value Business Model Canvas from Osterwalder. I'm quite sure you're familiar with both, so I will not use very much time on that. And there's also an article, I put out an article about from TEAS, Business Models, Business Strategy and Innovation. In a separate screencast, I will address this article and come with my comments, where you can add your own comments and questions. This is a screencast, have a look at it. The agenda. First, I want you all to have 1 to 3 questions or reflections concerning the readings, either the article or the PowerPoint, or to what you've downloaded from Strategizer. So each one of you bring 1 to 3 questions, reflections that we'll use to discuss and take the first step of getting deeper and getting more around the readings for the day. Then I'll be taking a short discussion assessing business models. We'll be looking at the business model canvas and the business model cube. Cube being the local model that we're using, developed by Peter Lindgren, and then we'll be linking it to a business development plan or a business plan. So business models come prior to a business plan. Business model cube, the understanding of as is and to be. Business model canvas, understandings and the use. And then it's very important for me that you don't just have the theoretical understanding, but you also will use quite a lot of time each lesson. The theory's been read, it's been discussed. I make a screencast so we can, and you have some questions, so we can also move into the actual application. How do these different theories and models, how can you use them in practice? And for this purpose, I would like you to apply the business model canvas on Ryanair on a today or as is. What is the current business model for Ryanair? And also have a few suggestions of how could this business model, how could it be used? How could it be developed? Which areas could they focus on in the next stage? As a business model is very dynamic. It's continuously being adapted, used, refined, and a link to help you go through to Ryanair. So, just recap. I would like you all to start off with answering some of the questions you have concerning what you've been reading. So I want you all to have 1 to 3 questions, comments concerning the text for today, which could be downloaded or a TEAS article. TEAS article will also be elaborated on in a separate screencast, hopefully later on today. Business model cube, business model canvas are the 2 types of business models we'll be working with. There are up to different types. The reason we're choosing those 2 is business model canvas is the most used. If you go to Erhvervsrådet on the other side, the typical model used is the business model canvas. And business model cube because it's our local invention / development. Let's move on. Why business models and why business plans? Initially, you have one reason. The oral exam is based on a written group assignment, including a business development plan. So this is not just a business model, it's trying to put some more meat, flesh onto the skeleton that a business model is. So having a business model and adding some specifics concerning resources, value proposition, making it more specific than in the model. So this is part of your exam for the international business, and not exceeding eight pages, groups 3-4 students. That's one reason, quite a good reason for focusing on business models and business plans. In the rest of my lectures, I will continuously be linking my own readings and what Lars has been commenting on. I'll try and all the time make this link to the business model and to the business plans. Second reason, business models or business plans especially, the underlying business model, it's so important for all organizations. It's so very vital. Many organizations think they can operate with a good value proposition and then a budget within different areas, but they're so very wrong. It's very vital in every business, national or international business. So I really want you to give it some serious focus. It's underestimated, and the reason is that business models they aren't really accredited or accepted in much of the business literature, and this is one of the areas where I think T's article is good by highlighting why these business model thinking is so underrated in the literature of economics and strategy, because it's sort of an orphan. It's not part of the classical paradigm for the organizational literature, strategy literature, nor economic literature. So they have their paradigms of what they're used to thinking, and business models and business plans don't fit into any of them. So they're not really giving it the attention that I think is it should be given. Okay. Little comment concerning, just removed the 2007 marking. But still, I think Dell is excellent case. Dell is an excellent case for showing the importance of a business model. And what Dell actually did to get success was they analyzed the business model within the existing industry. So let's just say Porter's 5 forces. Then you have this one in the middle within the industry, the competition within the industry. And they analyzed and found out that the industry had a way of thinking. There was a paradigm for the industry thinking that very much we produce computers and we send them to distributors and then the customer buys them. And they just analyzed it and found out we can make a completely different setup. That small change made Dell an extremely successful company. They analyzed the business model within the industry and came up with something completely new. As Benetton did in the marketing. If you're not quite sure, bring it as a question for Monday. If you have any questions as to whether the Dell case or the Benetton case, I want you to be absolutely clear in your understanding of these two cases. Then I have some suggestions for some steps that you can go through when you'll be working with your business model and business plan. You start off by taking a model, whether a canvas or cube, and then you identify the major aspects in these different dimensions. And say this is how the situation is today. You'll be working on it with the case in Ryanair. And then you relate this business model with some hard knowledge. Put in what you can find in the homepage, put in the data, how many segments do they have, which value proposition are they operating with, what are the specific key resources, etc., etc. So we take it from something very general in the business model understanding and make it specific to the organization that you're analyzing. So in that way, making it specific by putting on some primary data, secondary data from the specific organization that you are creating a business model, a business plan for. You have the business model and move it into a business plan by being specific with the different criteria, building blocks. And then when this is done as good as possible, then you say, which moves can we make from developing tomorrow's business model / business plan? And then you have some ideas. Should you use IoT? Should you change the segments? Should you change the process of how the product or service is made? Should you may change the position, how you actually reach your different segments? All this could be changed. Should you change the paradigm? Paradigm could be very, very interesting to change if possible. So you develop on it, find out tomorrow, analyze, document it, and then when it's agreed upon, they say which strategy are we going to recommend from moving where we are now to where we'd like to be with our business plan. I hope it is actually quite simple, but it takes some working with, it takes some trial and error to really get to hand with it, get to grip with it. Extra aspects, triple bottom line, including the social, the environment, and the economic aspects. So not just focusing on the economic aspects, but including the environment, social considerations. So you could say, well, we want our business plan to include a triple bottom line. Or you could say we want to include some intellectual property rights. So this way, I know there's a given framework for the business models, but I think each business model should be tailored according to the case that you're working with. It's very important. You have a business model, but it's just a simple framework, and you have to work with it, find out what's important for the specific business you're working with. And are there some extra dimensions that are not included in the generic business model that could be relevant with respect to the organization that you have in focus? Yeah, different sorts of IPR. Now just go through the steps of the business model cube. Business model cube has 7 dimensions. Value proposition, and then I'll be writing some of the authors that have been addressing this issue. The customer / user, Kotler von Hippel Johnson, value chain functions, Porter, competencies, very much the area of Prahlad and Hamel, networks, physical, digital, etc. Hawkinson is a good representative, value formula, Kotler, and finally relations, which is, in my opinion, the most remarkable difference between the cube and the canvas, the relations. Oops, spelled wrong, sorry. 15 minutes gone. The rest of the slides is just supplementary information. Click through them